Previously on Rayne Taylor's channel. But seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all of these things will be provided for you. Matthew 6, verse 33.
Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Where have I been? But yeah, y'all, welcome back to another video. I have not sat down and created a video. It's been a month. So today's video I will get into telling you guys all why that is. I have not the camera, why I haven't posted a video all January. So yeah, I thank you guys so much for tuning in. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, because yeah, 2025 is going to be amazing. All right, y'all, so let's start with where I have been. I kind of spent the end of like 2024 just reflecting, being very reflective, thinking about just very reflective of 2024, and just thinking about like what's next. The church I've been going to, we decided to do a corporate fast for the month of January. So let me get y'all all the details about that. Okay, so I felt led to do this fast because I've only fasted once or twice before, and I don't really feel like, yeah, I have to change up my battery, so that's why I had to stop talking. But basically what I was saying is that the church that I've been going to, that my friend introduced me to, we did a corporate fast, and it was a time of fasting and prayer. And as I said before, like I've done, I think 2 fasts before. The first one I think was better than the second one that I did, but I didn't really feel like a shift. I mean, maybe a little bit, but like it wasn't, I don't know, I guess I didn't really like experience God, and I wasn't really intentional about my time with God. So this fast, since like the whole church was doing it, my friend was doing it with the church, and so I was like, okay, this, like, I feel like it was going to be easier for me to do it. Not easier, I don't know if easier is the right word, but like I just felt good about doing it with other people because I knew that, like, my friend, we would be able to hold each other accountable when it came to this fast. And so I just thought it was gonna be beneficial for like me to do it with the church as a whole thing. And so yeah, it was very like, the fast has been very good for me. I feel like this, and it wasn't just fasting, it was like, yes, we were fasting together, but we were also praying together. Like every day there was a prayer call. Monday through Saturday there was a prayer call, and I have prayed like I have never before in my life, y'all. When I tell y'all, like, I've never prayed like this before. My prayer life is changed from this. Like, my prayer life has changed tremendously. I'm grateful. I'm grateful to Liz, I'm grateful to the church, I'm grateful to God, Lord, that I was able to experience this fast, because it has changed my prayer life. So let's get into like some specifics. So the fast was from January 6th to the 26th. Today's the 26th, so today's the last day. At 6 o'clock, which is in an hour, I can eat. But yeah, so it was from January 6th to the 26th. And so there was two options that you could choose. You could either do where it's like you're eating like, I guess, like a Daniel fast type of diet, or you can do the one where like you're eating nothing all day from like 7 to 6, and then after 6 p.m. you can eat whatever you want. So I said I prayed to God and I was like, Lord, me doing this like Daniel fast one was going to be me taking the easy way out. So I said I was going to do not eating until 6. And I did it. I did it, y'all. Like, and when I say it was the Lord, like that was the Lord moving, I promise you, because I'm a snacker. I like to eat throughout the day. So when I say that was the Lord's strength, and the prayer calls help. The prayer calls definitely help. So yeah. And I also did, like, even when I could eat, I did no outside food, no highly processed foods. I did as minimally processed as possible. And I did pretty good with that. Also did no processed sugar. I also did no social media. I have not been on TikTok, none of that. Instagram, none of it. And then I also did no secular music. So the only thing I've been listening to is Christian rap, Christian R&B, your traditional like gospel music, and like Christian Afro beats. And so that is what consisted of my fast. Y'all, when I say like it has been life-changing. And I didn't realize it until I got home today from church. Ooh, I'm trying not to tear up. But I didn't realize it until I got home from church today. And I was like, wow. And I just started praying to the Lord. And y'all, when I say like my prayer life is completely changed, like I have never prayed like this a day in my life ever. So like this fast was like that's my testimony to this fast. Like my prayer life is completely changed. Like I'm never going to pray how I used to pray ever before. Like my prayers have changed. Like we talked about during the fast, like praying without ceasing. And I did that today. And I've done it throughout the fast, but like it didn't really sit with me until today when I was praying after I got home from church. And I was like, wow, I don't want to go back. I don't want to go back, y'all. So this fast has really been good for me. It's been good for my spirit. I feel like I've grown spiritually. Yeah. And I will say, like, okay, I'll get into that later. But yeah, the fast has been amazing. So with that being said, I took notes during my fast. And so I want to share with y'all my notes, things that I've learned. And I asked ChatGPT to like break down my notes, but keep my notes specifically how I wrote them. Asked it to break them down in categories. So I'm going to go over those with y'all. This fast, like I said, it's been life-changing. My prayer life will never be the same. I feel spiritually strong. Like the pastor, he talked about that all throughout the fast, even today at church. Like I feel spiritually strong. And yeah. All right, let's get into it. Okay, y'all. So as I said, I got ChatGPT to break down my notes into categories. So my notes, I'm just going to kind of read them down like what they say. Some of them I will go in depth, but others I may not. Okay, wait, time out. So I do want to make a note that all of these notes that I took either came from praying, a sermon, a podcast episode, things that I felt like the Lord was saying to me during this fast, church service, just different things. But yeah. So with that being said, the first category is called seeking God and spiritual growth. And so I'm just going to read down the bullet points. So seeking God's face more than seeking his hand. Deeper levels of spiritual growth are reserved for the investigator, the pursuer, the seeker, and the doer. I think this was a church service. And he was talking about just like if you want to grow spiritually, like, it's going to cause you to investigate, pursue his word, seek him. What do I always say? Seek first the kingdom of God. Like, seek him, and then also being a doer of the word. Because yes, we can hear the word, we can read the word, but are we being doers of the word? Yes, the word says that we should be kind, but are you being kind? So yeah. God is requiring full obedience. It is going to hurt. Yeah, just leave that. Make the most of your moments you have while you're here on earth. I think this was from Philip Anthony Mitchell. And he was talking about just like how like our time is limited here. We don't know when our last moment, when our last breath will be, and so make the moments you have here count. Make them count. Bare minimum Christianity is over, and I put that in like all capital letters. Like, the bare minimum, doing the bare minimum with Christ, bare minimum relationship with him is over. It's all over. It's done. It's done for. What are you prioritizing over God's presence? I don't remember where this came from, but I wrote that down and asked myself, and something that you guys could potentially reflect on is, what are you prioritizing over God's presence? One thing I've learned on this fast is that, like, you have time. You got all the time. Okay. We can say we're busy, but we have the time. What are you doing with your time? I think as well, it's important to like reflect on your days. What are you doing during each of these hours of your day? And one thing I can say is that while I've been on this fast from social media, I've had more time on my plate. I've had more time to seek his face, to be in his word, to pray. Like, those prayer calls, they would be like 30 minutes to an hour. You got the time. I don't know what to tell you. Like, the Lord was saying, he was saying to me, like, you have time, but how are you spending your time? What are you prioritizing over God's presence, over spending time with it? You're saying you don't have time to read your word, but what are you doing? What are you doing with your time? And I had to ask myself that, like, dang, looking back, I didn't spend a lot of time on social media. And I'm saying, oh, I don't have time to read your word. I don't have time to pray, but you just go on TikTok for 3 hours. Like, you got time. So, yeah, you have time. That's all I want to say. You have time. Look at your schedule, look at what you're doing, and figure it out. Point blank period. Because you have time. You have time. You have time. If you don't remember anything from this YouTube video, you have time. You have time. I promise you, you do. You got time. Scrolling on TikTok for 3 hours. Not doing it. Like, you have time to spend in his presence. He is a priority. And that's the other thing I've learned, that like, I could say all day that he's a priority, and granted, I would spend like moments here and there, but like, I want to seek his face daily, be in his presence daily. Like, so you got the time, babe. You got it. What are you doing with your time? I'm just the messenger. I'm just the messenger, but you have time. Like, you got all the time. How are you using your time, though? How are you using your time? Is it being spent well? I'm just the messenger here. That's all I'm here to do. I'm the messenger. But you have time. I promise you. All right, on to the next one. All right, let me get off that. I didn't make a whole thing about that. But yeah, like, what are you prioritizing over God's presence? You have the time. You do. Okay. We're gonna move on. But I have one more note. It says you have time for God. You just choose free will. You choose not to make him a priority. And I realized I had all this time, but I was not making him a priority in my life. Make God a priority. Okay, that's it. I'm done. Fear stops exposure, which stops deliverance. We don't want people to know what we're dealing with. This was when we were on a prayer call and we were talking about basically like just like confessing the things that we've done to like God, but also like to our people closest to us, like our best friend. And so we were talking about how like fear of like what they may think of me, how their perception of me may change, stops us from sharing those things, and that keeps us like that keeps to that helps. We keep it in when we don't share it. And it can ultimately end up stopping deliverance and you being free from whatever that thing is. So yeah, that was that. We have to depend on the Lord in prayer. He will show and teach us what to pray for. That's self-explanatory. If you love God, you will find the time. Oh, this was a good one for me. You are praying to a God you know nothing about. So maybe you are praying unhelpful prayers or lack spiritual maturity to discern the answer that you're looking for. For me, this stood out because it's like, how can you know, how can you know what God is saying to you if you don't even know who He is? Like, if you genuinely don't know who He is, you don't know nothing about Him, you haven't read a lick of your word, how can you know what to pray for? And how can you know when He's answered prayer? And this just goes back to my point of like just being in the word, like being in His presence. Being in His presence. And I think you could start small, like maybe, okay, Lord, I'm gonna give you 10 minutes. I'm gonna give you 10 minutes. I'm gonna pray, I'm gonna read, do whatever. But yeah. Learn about the Lord, learn about His nature, His character, who He is. Yeah. This was just kind of like a reminder. My only purpose is to glorify God. That is the only thing I'm here for, is to glorify God. Yes, I have different assignments and different ways that I can do that, but that's my only purpose, to glorify Him. And this goes to my next bullet point where it says seasons change, assignments change, meaning that as the seasons change, my assignments may same, but the purpose and the goal will always remain the same. Next one says, we must have belief in God's vision and allow Him to put it in our hearts. This sounds like it was from a prayer call, but just we must have belief in the things that God has said to us, the vision that He has for our lives. We must truly believe it and allow Him to put it in our hearts so that we're fully walking it out. Yeah. Okay, I think I have two more from this. Pray against every word you've spoken out of offense. I believe this was a prayer call too. We were talking about like having offense in our heart, or bitterness, and unforgiveness against people who have done things to us. And we were talking about praying against every word you've spoken out of offense. So an example is like, I'm trying to remember. I think an example was like, if you're saying like, oh, you know, I'll never be like my father, I'll never be like my mother, I'll never be like what they did to me. When in actuality, that offense that you're holding in your heart, you're holding on to that and you haven't forgiven that person. And so that's why you're like, oh, I don't ever want to be like that person. Basically, you haven't given that person grace. And because you're so stuck in unforgiveness and offense that you took towards that person, you're praying things when really you should be praying like, Lord, help me to forgive this person, help me to remove all offense in my heart, help that person with whatever it is. We talked a lot about like offense and unforgiveness, but yeah. The fear of God is the beginning of wisdom. And then the last one was, once we believe that Jesus did all these things for us, we will truly be able to walk in freedom. We cannot walk in freedom until we know that Jesus did these things for us, that he died on the cross for us, that he laid down his life. Like, we will not truly be able to walk in freedom until we truly believe that in our heart of hearts. And that blessed me. So part 2, we have emotional and mental health. We're starting off strong. Jealousy, envy, and rejection are signs of emotional challenges. So if you have any of these things in your heart, that may be something you want to pray to God about and ask him to reveal to you why this is, and then ask him to help you to be able to release that and let that go. Bitterness, unforgiveness, and holding grudges are also signs of emotional challenge. So again, these are all things we should be praying to God about. Okay, so it's dangerous to believe that everything is true. So basically what that means is like, okay, if I am believing that somebody said something to me and I took offense to it, it's dangerous to believe that in your mind you thought they were trying to be rude, but maybe they weren't. So to me, that's what that meant. The aim of emotional health is to manage what we feel well. Healing means confession, meaning we need to confess the things that we're dealing with to be able to heal. Shame is a spiritual demonic attack of the evil one. Shame and pride go hand in hand. This was a podcast episode with the Perrys. Please go watch it. I promise you. It blessed me. It will bless you. I promise you. Pride convinces us that if we let go, people will take advantage of us or see us as weak. Pride is a fake savior that protects us from pain. And then the last one, I just wrote down a prayer point of mine that I want to start praying, is praying for a sound mind, praying over my mind, praying over my thoughts, just praying for a sound mind. So yeah, that is the end of the mental health and emotional section. All right, so this next section was really pivotal for me. So the next section is about wisdom and discernment. So it says, wisdom is knowing you can but choosing not to. And when I say at the beginning of the fast, this was God was steadily saying this to me. He was very clear about saying this to me. Just because you can doesn't mean that you should. And it's wisdom to know that you can and choose not to. There's wisdom in that. Wisdom is eternal. So wisdom from God. I think I've talked about this on... Have I talked about this on here? I think I've talked about this on here. But yeah, we need wisdom, and the only way we can get wisdom is through the Lord. The more you use wisdom, it multiplies. It shows you how things really work and how to position yourself properly. Wisdom is greater than money. Wisdom will save you from bad decisions. One of the ways to stay in wisdom is to stay in the Word. That's so good. Through discernment, we can make choices with wisdom. Discernment is to clearly understand what the Lord is saying and to perceive and understand. All right. So the next section is a relationship and community. This is something we've talked a lot about during this fast. So steward well your relationships. So keep steward well your friendships, your marriage, your courtship, steward all of it well. Your sibling bonds, your relationship with your parents, like steward it all well. Keep solid people of God around you. Let go of childish love. Love that does not, and childish love is just basically love does not represent Christ. I wrote down something that was going to be like a new prayer point for me, and it was just that Lord put genuine believers around me, and genuine people around me. So yeah. And then lastly, I wrote down my love is loving someone else. So again, that's just going back to like showing love how Christ wants us to show love. So yeah, that was it. Relationship and community was pretty short, but I think it's very straightforward. Like steward well the relationships you have, love others as Christ loves us, and just exemplify that love in all aspects and with everyone, even people you don't like. The next section we're going to be talking about is purpose, legacy, and obedience. So the first bullet point I have is add value to the life of others with no strings attached. I believe this was another sermon from Philip Anthony Mitchell. Basically he was just talking about how like we should be again glorifying God in the things we do, and a part of glorifying God means loving others. And so basically he was talking about how we should love others with no strings attached, like doing things without feeling like, oh, I'm gonna get this in return, like just doing things with a pure heart. God gives us blessings so that we can bless other people. Steward well all the things that the Lord has given me, all things: money, friendships, relationships, business ideas, my gifts. Steward it all well. Be faithful to what God has already given you. This stood out to me because it made me just think about how, like, again, going into that stewarding well, but also like, yeah, just stewarding well the things that you have now so that God can be able to give you more. If he can't see that you can handle what he's already given you, why would he give you more? But yeah, makes sense to me. Success is what God says is success. Anything else is feeding your ego. We talked about legacy, so I wrote down you want to think about legacy now. What are you leaving behind? Yeah. What are you leaving behind on this earth? If God has graced you to do something, do it. Do it. Do it. When I say like this year, 2025, God has graced me to do a few things. And my prayer is that he would help me walk this thing out and do this thing, and help me to do it well. Like, that's my prayer, and I just pray that people will be blessed by it. So yeah, if God has graced you to do it, if God has told you to do it, do it. Do it. I promise you, do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Yeah. And then the last point I'm going to share is do everything as a kingdom representative. Do everything for the glory of God. Do everything as a believer. Do everything like in everything that you do. Do it as a kingdom representative. Do it as if you're representing God. Do it as if you're doing it for God. Period. Period. Okay. But period, for real, like, do everything as if you're doing it for God. Do everything as if you're doing it for the Lord. Okay, guys, so the second to last section I want to talk about is self-reflection and humility. So I wrote down humility is a heart/consideration issue. Meaning that to show humility, like, we have to pray about our heart and then also consider others. Humility ushers us into servanthood, meaning serving others. In humility, consider others more significant than yourself. So again, like going back to the thing of like showing God's love. Yeah, just showing God's love to others. And that means considering others. Okay, the next bullet point I have is remember the source who has given you everything. Because he can easily snatch it. Give me, give it here. Like, yeah. Pride is also connected to jealousy. So this was something that I made a realization about myself. Like as a child, I was like, and Jackie Hill Perry kind of said it too in her podcast. That I think this was from the podcast that she did with Preston. But basically, like I was kind of like ridiculed for being like very emotive, showing emotions as a child, and so I feel like over the years I became more hard. If that makes sense. So I wrote down pride shows up and says I'm never going to be weak out loud. And I feel like that's why I don't show people. That's why I don't show people a lot of my emotions. And then also like I don't give people the opportunity to like get close to me like that because my pride says like I'm not going to show you that I'm weak. I'm not going to open up and show you that I'm weak or that I have all these deep feelings and emotions, because I do feel like I'm very to know me personally, and just to know me and for the Lord to know me and to know myself. What are you trying to say? But no, for real, to know myself, I am very I just have a lot of emotions. I feel very deeply, and I'll show my emotions in private, but I feel like it's hard for me to do that with other people. So something to just further work on. All right, guys, this is the final last one. So this one is practical living. The first bullet point that I have is invest in your singleness. Invest in what you've got. This I took to heart because I feel like at times I have idolized marriage, idolized being in a relationship, idolized men. And so this is important to me. I feel like 2024 I was working on that, like investing in my singleness, and I think 2025 I'm just going to continue to do that, and just continue to invest during this time that God has called me to be single, because I've learned to see it as a blessing. But I do desire marriage. I do desire to be in a relationship. But for right now, I feel that the Lord is calling me to be single at this moment in time. And so I'm just going to invest during this time. And when the Lord is the right man for me, when the Lord has the right man for me, he's going to show up and we're going to be in a new season. But for right now, while I'm in this single season, I'm going to invest in my single season. Clock that. Clock that. Sorry, no. But no, for clock that. So yeah, just invest on my single ladies, single girls, single women. Invest in your singleness. I have built a Sabbath. Again, this was brought up a lot during my fast, so I think I wrote it down multiple times, but just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. Okay. Financial breakthrough. We talked about finances a lot towards more so the end of the fast. And it says financial breakthrough is a mindset and a skill set. And yeah, I'm believing God for a lot this year. So that was like key for me. Sometimes distractions come before destruction. Distractions take you off focus. And then the last bullet point I have is things aren't always going to go your way. That's hard for me. Because a lot of times I'm like, okay, well, God, I want to go this way. And he's like, no. So I'm learning that things aren't gonna always go my way, and that I have to be okay with shifting and moving when the Lord wants to do something different. And I have to be okay with that. Yes, I can be upset about it, but what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? Life is gonna keep continuing to move on. And so yeah, I just have to adjust and be okay with that. Um, so yeah. That is it, y'all. Like, this fast has been amazing. It's been amazing. The Lord has been very good. He's done so much during this fast. And I'm just thanking him. I'm thanking him so much. Like, he has moved. I feel different. And I just want to continue the habits that I've started on this fast and continue them on throughout the year. So yeah. I think that's it, y'all. I think that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Yeah, yeah. I'm expecting for God to do a lot in 2025. I'm expecting for myself to do a lot in 2025, and I want y'all to join along with me, like join along on this journey. As I always say, if you desire a relationship with the Lord, go after it. Go after it. What is the verse that's in my intro? Seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness. Seek him first. I promise you. All those other things will fall into place. Seek first the kingdom of God. Yeah. As I always say, I will never stop talking about the Lord. I'm going to keep talking about him. And yeah. This has been a great fast. I'm very blessed and thankful to my friends, to the church, to the Lord. And I'm just ready to see the move that God is going to make this year. I'm going to have faith and wait with expectancy. And I just pray that I continue to grow in my prayer life, continue to grow. Fast, y'all. I promise, is life-changing fast. Take a break from social media, y'all. Take a break. I needed this 21 days. It was well needed. I needed the break from it. I do miss my TikTok though. But yeah. I needed that break. I needed to see that you have time for the Lord. You're just not making him a priority. And it's time to make the Lord a priority, y'all. Make the Lord a priority 2020. Okay, but no, for real. Like, all jokes aside. Make the Lord a priority 2025, y'all. I promise you. Make him a priority. You're gonna see shifts. I've seen shifts in these 21 days, and I want to continue to see shifts. I want to continue to see shifts going into 2025. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I thank y'all so much for watching this video. We have made it to 200 subscribers. Let's give it up for y'all. But yeah, I appreciate y'all. I thank y'all so much for watching, so much for tuning in. The Lord is doing great things, and he could do great things in your life. And yeah, just invite him into your life. Give him authority over your life. Okay, I'm done. I'm rambling. Talk too much. But yeah, this fast was needed. I needed it. The Lord knew I needed this. He knew I needed this. Like, this was so good. But yeah, y'all. So yeah. Okay, be for real. But yeah, I ask that you guys please like, comment, share, subscribe. I will see y'all in my next video. Bye.